If the cycle of the extinction as a purification is less, then there will be a lot more of karmic difficulties. It is the lifetime of obstructions, of struggling, always in difficulties. If the cycle of purification is less than infatuation, less than the usage of the body-mind aggregates, elements, difficulties will be across lifetimes, as usual. Continue to proceed with that which has nothing to do with disregarding. The disregarding is already considered as good. But go beyond goodness altogether. Uninvolved with disregarding. Don't be stuck with just goodness or with just okay. Go beyond being okay. It will be without limits, boundless. Continue to proceed with that which has nothing to do with disregarding, simultaneously with internal or external eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Let's diligently make a conclusion to purify for a full length of time. Give the essence of that which has nothing within the disregarding for a period of time, for a lengthy period of time, and continue onwards as such. Give the essence of that which has nothing within the uninvolved itself for a lengthy period of time. Because samsara is always here at all times. Otherwise, there will be no balance in purification. Samsara is always here at all times. So the essence of that which is not about anything within disregarding has to be given for a lengthy period of time. As well as when the essence of not anything within the uninvolved itself has to be given absolutely, fully. Nothing is within the disregarding itself all at once, all at once, all at once. It's not about anything within the disregarding continuously. Don't be disregarding in the way of drowning in it, in the way of falling in stillness and indifference. Otherwise, you will be just withering. So when you look at anything, just purify everything. Wherever you share the essence in any directions, purify totally for all and everything. The more you diligently bless, the more power there is. Otherwise, there's just about using the body-mind elements. You will just take on all the hindrances of usage. It's going to be difficult. So let's purify onwards through that which has nothing to do with disregarding all the same with everything. This will be the purification of the emptiness for all and everything. Then there will be more power to bless without choosing time to bless. Wherever you are, even in the toilet, bless like that, huh? Are you doing so? Even you do the excretion in the toilet, are you doing so? Still blessing? Whatever you take in, whatever you excrete, you bless at any times with all manners. Are you doing it also like that? Therefore, diligently recall the reminder that purifies itself at any time. Uninvolved with disregarding, not even the disregarding itself. This essence is to be shared for a lengthy period of time until it's on at all time. No matter which manners, it's all about blessing, only purifying. The more of that, the more power it will be for blessing. Even there are great numbers of samsara, the power of purification for samsara will continue so. It will be possible to be so. This is subjected to diligently giving compassion and great compassion, which means instantaneous blessing. There is no need to interpret the word compassion or great compassion. Just diligently sharing it through purification of the extinction and the emptiness. This is the compassion and great compassion. No other interpretations for this. No matter how many people there are, by oneself or with many, diligently share the compassion and great compassion through the essence of that which is not relevant to disregarding, all the same with everything. Disregard even from the disregard itself without being considerate to one's own mind or heart. Diligently purify. Disregard even from the disregard itself, absolutely. Instantaneous purification of the extinction. Don't be stuck with having regrets with the mind. No need to be considerate to the mind, because the mind is just suffering within itself only, which is unable to fixate anyway. It's all anatta, anicca in itself. Therefore, there is no need to be considerate to even one's own mind. Be bold. Be deliberate, cut through to help one another onwards. Disregard doesn't grasp itself, is not relevant to itself. It doesn't grasp itself. The disregard is not relevant to itself. Disregard even from the disregard itself. Absolutely. Then the Anupap will be helping through the purification of Nirod or the extinction. Wherever you look at any directions, purify through the extinction and emptiness without having to have an invitation. There is no need to be invited. Instantaneous blessing right then and there. Blessing without being invited. The more diligently sharing the great compassion, continuously purifying through the extinction, continuously disregard even from the disregard itself, continuously for all and everything, the more power to help from samsara will be greatly greater and greater. Later on, there will be the language, only the language of Satya Dharma. The language of the verbal will be less. Using the Anupap more than verbal. This is not in the way of having a lot of thoughts. It means that there is a form up to use language of the mind more than verbal, language of the verbal. And that means instantaneous purification of the extinction is there. Already said, later on the phone will not be used. There will be only the language of the mind for everything. Whether it is by the foundation of the purification of the extinction and the emptiness, through that which has nothing to do with the disregarding. That's the precedent for purification. Language is used just in moderation because it's still crude, it's karma, so we have to form it up in moderation, and also we have to purify it through while using it. Use the extinction to purify the formed up simultaneously. The uninvolved purifies itself, the disregard purifies itself. This is disregard even from the disregard itself. It is the disregard that purifies itself. It doesn't grasp itself. The disregard doesn't grasp itself, is not fixated to itself. Nothing is within the disregard itself, which means that the disregard purifies itself as such. Whatever terminology is formed up, purify it simultaneously. For example, the form up of looking, seeing, or knowing, purify it simultaneously. Disregard even from the disregarding itself together with seeing, looking, and knowing. That is the purification of the extinction for looking, seeing, and knowing simultaneously. Once you form up the knowing, purify the form up of knowing simultaneously. Disregard even from the disregard itself altogether with looking, seeing, and knowing. Then there will be purification of the extinction as well. Don't let there be the form up left over, becoming karmic difficulties of the formed up itself. Whether you acknowledge anything, purify it simultaneously, otherwise it's gonna be the karmic difficulties, because there will be delusion of looking, seeing, and knowing, which happens all the time. The karmic difficulties has to be purified simultaneously. Circling in seeing, knowing, and looking, it becomes karmic difficulties in itself, which is remaining. Therefore, you have to purify all the formed up simultaneously. Otherwise, it will turn into karmic difficulties or the vibhaka, circling delusively with all the deluded knowing, the deluded seeing, deludedly fabricating within the body and mind and heart. Form up of body and mind. Everything is formed up, is made up. Disregard even from the disregard itself simultaneously. Fully extinction. Whatever is formed up, the extinction will purify it as well. It will not become karmic difficulties. The past, there is just the formed up without purification in itself. That's why it's accumulated of the vibhaka, circling and circling in itself whether it is by words, thoughts, and actions. The purification of the extinction is less than the form-up behaviors. Don't be considerate to the mind, to one's own mind. There is no real mind, no real mind that owns by anyone. It's just a form-up, temporary. There is no substantial, truly in itself, in any formed-up. That's why it's called upalok, the form-up, or the samut, concoction. It's not real. It's not substantial. That's why it's called upalok and samut. It's just fabricating or created temporarily. When there is purification of the extinction and emptiness, don't be considerate to one's own mind, to samsara, to elements, to the relationships of siblings or anything whatsoever. Don't be considerate to any concoctions of the beingness. There is no need to be considerate to anything. Otherwise, it's going to be continuous karmic difficulties within such a formed up. Whether it is the form up of body and mind, form and formlessness, or life. Don't be considerate to life. Disregard even from the disregard itself simultaneously. Don't be considerate to being the life. Then there will not be any delusions to life. Otherwise, it's going to be karma and karmic difficulties within living the life. Don't be considerate to having the life, because it's just a concoction. It's just a made-up. The life is just a made-up thing. It's not real. It's temporary. There is no substantial in it. It's just like you mold something out of water to create a substantial thing. Don't be considerate to the climate, to any perceptions, to any nature or anything whatsoever. When you have consideration to anything, there is no deliberate cut-through. There is no deliberate purification through the extinction. The consideration itself is the hindrance, is an obstruction in blessing. It's blocking the blessing itself. Instead of cutting deluded knowing, there is no power, because there is just the engrossed with being considerate. Therefore, don't be considerate even one's own mind. Any types of mind, don't be considerate to any of them. Disregard even from the disregard itself intensively, absolutely. Enable to uninvolve with any types of mind. Let there be one essence without discrimination. Let there be the essence in all the same, without discrimination. And don't be obsessed to drop anywhere too often. to give significance and meanings in anything too often. More of the purification. Continue with purification. More of dropping anywhere, giving significance to anything is like taking on the vibhak, to be in trouble. Vibhak of sound, smell, taste, touches, and shapes. Vibhak of situations, of circumstances. The knowing, the looking, the seeing, without purification, only receiving and taking on the vibhak. This is like dominated by the troubles. The knower cover up its own trouble. Without disregard from the disregard itself, together with looking, seeing, and knowing, it will just lead karmic difficulties to cover up looking, seeing, and knowing itself. Let's purify simultaneously through the form up of looking, seeing, and knowing. May all behaviors through words, thought, and actions, whether it's appropriate or not from the past until the present, may it be forgiven. Ahosi, Ahosi, Ahosi in all behaviors.